Let me know if this goes into presentation mode, Tamara.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so thanks for joining today's Startline area orientation session. We're very, very appreciative and grateful for your time and commitment to this year's race, which is extra special with more than ever runners and a 2-day, well, actually a full week of
Yes.
events, which we can get into. I am Carly. I will be managing the front end of the start line, which sees oversight and management of the event's start line, providing direction to the start corral lead, ensuring a coordinated race start. And that is Tamara.
Yeah. And I'm Tamara. I'm the corral lead, and I'll be working with Carly, and I'll be managing the event with the start corrals and working with the start line lead, Carly, to ensure that we coordinate all races and corrals. And our crew will consist of corral captains, which will be some of you, and some of you will be holding the pennant flag ropes, and some of you will helping us with access control into the corrals. As a crew, we will be managing the loading of these corrals before the start and moving the corrals along to get up to Carly at the start with the pulse wave that we'll be doing.
Great. And we look forward to meeting you guys on site where we can do some more introductions. This is our agenda today. Don't let it overwhelm you. We have some standard information at the front, and then we're just going to get into the details a little bit about what we will be doing on race day with the starts. New in 2025, as I mentioned, there's 2 days of racing. So the 5, 10, and kids race number 1 and diaper dash are on Saturday. And then the full and half marathon, as well as a second kids race, is on Sunday. The start line has shifted just slightly further north on Stampede Trail. We will show you that on a diagram. And the new start route exits Stampede Park via 5A gate instead of the traditional Stampede Trail, which is in the southeast. We did add that second kids race due to popular demand, as always. This year, we have the Green Bib program. So important to note here, the Green Bib program is racers who have decided to not collect a t-shirt and a medal at the end in support of sort of a green initiative. There is a panel on the side of their bib that is green, just so that you know when you're keeping in mind corral organization that green panel, we can show that to you, doesn't have anything to do with entering the corrals. There is an expanded calendar of race week events. I will show you where the volunteer hub is later, and you'll be able to access that if you want to get more information. And we do have record registration numbers expected to be over 18,000 runners this year. Mm-hmm. Just to touch on our volunteer code of conduct, we are expecting friendly and respectful environment that reinforces socially responsible behaviors. So that means treating others with courtesy and respect. Discrimination or harassment is not acceptable, and please stop or report any incidents of discrimination or harassment. Unfortunately, we have been witness to that before. So for health, safety, and security purposes, if you're feeling unwell, please don't come to your shift, but do let us know as soon as you know. We'll send our contact information in an email after this call, so you can give us a text, and we will be watching our phones. If you feel more comfortable wearing a mask, please do, and wash those hands. Our event alert system monitors air quality for the runners, and that will be continuously monitored. So far, so good. The forecast looks fantastic with lots of rain leading up to a very nice weekend coming. So we will let you know if there is changes to that. A couple of emergency procedures coming up here. This one's for potentially life-threatening injury. Call 911, follow the directions of the 911 dispatcher, provide the basic life support if you're qualified and comfortable in doing so. Secure the area so that people aren't just jumping in. Calgary Police Service, Calgary Marathon Medical Team, or race staff can jump in. Please try to prevent further injury. And on race day, contact the medical dispatcher. We will have those phone numbers handy. We're really lucky as the start line team to have a small area to manage. And so Tamara, myself, Justin, others will be around always. So we can just grab somebody that has a radio and can relay information. We do not disclose names over the radios. We use bib numbers to try to keep confidentiality there. And we will have to complete a incident report if there is an emergency. For non-life-threatening injuries on race day only, we'll do the same thing to contact the medical dispatcher. You can come to us with the radio, and then they'll send medics for the non-life-threatening injury. A few missing persons procedures here. We've got 3. If there's a missing or lost child and an adult has approached you, inform a race official. We'll use our radios. If there's no race official, send somebody to locate one immediately, but try to stay where you are. Stay with the guardian until that person arrives. Get their name and contact info. And if the guardian is reunited with their child while waiting for a race official, immediately let the race official know that this has happened. Ensure all involved guardians do not leave until contact with Calgary Stampede Security is made, and complete an incident report form, which can be obtained at the information tent. There's 2 of them, and we'll show you where they are. If you found a child, obviously stay with, comfort the child, stay where you are, scan for that frantic guardian. Hopefully they didn't get too far away. Reunite if successful, obtain the name and phone number of the guardian, and if not successful, inform a race official and obtain assistance. So you can send somebody off to find one, stay where you are. If the child is reunited, let us know right away and complete an incident report. Finally, missing adult. We're mostly concerned with people who have special needs or a concerning medical condition or maybe seem disoriented, something like that. If they're not disoriented, you can direct them to an information tent. And if they need additional assistance, inform a race official and have them contact forward command. Volunteer parking. This is sort of something to pay a little bit of attention to. It took me some time to find the location last year. In the follow-up email that I will send, there's going to be a link to Volunteer Hub, which will have sort of the race guide that has the events. It will have the parking pass standing on its own, and it's got a couple of other really good resources there for volunteers. But in the email I send you afterwards, I'll have a unique link to the general parking pass that you can print and have just put in your window for Saturday and Sunday. If you're familiar with the south end of the Stampede grounds, that is 25th Avenue Southeast. And right sort of around where this green star is the more common entryway to Stampede. That's the one that gets busy for hockey games, etc. This volunteer parking where the blue bubble and arrow is just east of that. And it is kind of an inconspicuous entrance where you would drive down a hill and go under a little underpass, across a bridge, and then around the corner into the infield of the racetrack on Stampede. Another thing that I did last year was cross the track, and it was super muddy, and I messed my shoes up first thing in the morning. So where that green star is underpass, like a sort of a tunnel that goes under the track. Then you can follow the yellow line to the most south exit or entrance to GMC Stadium, which is where the volunteer check-in will be. that is attached to the parking pass. So you will see that as well. So please, when you get to your shift, the volunteer center is in 30X in GMC Stadium. It's pretty easy to find once you get in there. It opens on Saturday at 5:30 and Sunday at 5 a.m., which is when your shifts start. So please do your volunteer check-in for both days and then head straight out to the start line, which is pretty close. I did not highlight the volunteer satellite check-in tent because they are not going to be open at that time, which is in the infield parking lot. I mean, you might be able to peek by and see if they're set up, but
Yeah,
it kind of makes sense to go through GMC Stadium anyway. So just so you know, there is a volunteer hospitality tent, which is in NMAX Park, closer to where the finish line is. And there's some snacks and refreshments there. And it's open during festival hours. More information in the volunteer hub.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've sort of highlighted in these green boxes our like the race times that we're concerned with, which is 7:30 on Saturday for the 10K and 9:15 for the 5K. Lots of runners there. And then on Sunday at 7 a.m., we're going to kick off the full and half marathons with 8,500 runners. This is a brief overview of sort of when bike check and bike lockup open, 6:30 and 6 o'clock. So like approximately 1 hour after you guys get there. That will be great timing since we have that amount of time to get set up. This is that race week schedule. Things started yesterday at Cold Garden making signs. There's an event every day, as you can see. Please check that out or anything leading up if you're in town already. And if you have questions, this will be on the volunteer hub as well. Juanita is our volunteer area lead. So if you want to know anything about general volunteer stuff, please email her. But if we have any if you have start line questions or anything in general, just flip us a text. This is sort of where we get into the start line content. I'm going to ramble for a little bit longer, but then the very good details are with Tamara on corral management. So if you are familiar with the Stampede grounds or the Calgary Marathon, we used to have a dream home sort of in between the orange and blue corral there. And it is not there this year. So we have pushed the start line forward to just in front of that Nutrien Western Event Center. It's a huge building and can't be missed. So if you can see the GMC Stadium at the bottom in blue, you'll notice that you would have crossed that racetrack, gone into the building, done your volunteer check-in, and then you can come out and just scooch behind Bag Check, which is the future home of Nashville North, if you're familiar for Stampede. So it's just a big event tent, and you can go in behind there and then meet us at the start line. There is a little information icon in front of GMC Stadium, Bag Check, of course, and then I think I've made the diagram too small, but sort of where the paths cross on the finish zone venue map, there is another information center there in case anybody is looking for people, missing people. I'll talk quickly about start line crew responsibility. So these are general for all of us. We are going to start the races. We're going to set up the Centaur Subaru trailer, which is just a white trailer right at the start line. It sort of unfolds. It's got some Adirondack chairs on it. It's got a stage on the very top, which is where the gong will be and the announcers. The trailer could be packed up white with branding on it, Subaru branding on it, or it could be unfolded, just so that you know. We will inflate the start line structure, which is our inflatable arch. Tamara and I will test that on Friday, so we should be all set to go. We're going to set up any area equipment, tents, and unlock the porta potties. Just perform general crowd management, and then tear down the start line area by deflating the arch and removing equipment off the roadway as needed, then closing up the start line trailer stage. Then Sunday we do it all again. With the exception of at 10:15 on Sunday, the venue teardown crew will arrive to assist with everything.
Yeah.
Want to go ahead?
Yeah. Now on to me. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, Carly? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So hi, it's Tamara. So the start line corral responsibilities. So basically, we're going to be working with our pennant flag teams, and we're going to be managing the start line corrals at the beginning of the race. And so what that means is some of you will be managing the corral entrances to seat all our participants. And some of you will be on our pennant flag rope teams, and I'll show you a diagram later to kind of make that more sensible, make more sense to you. And holding a colored dot sign on your you're holding the rope and this colored dot sign so people can see what corral they're in. And some of you, and I've actually called a few people and to see if some of you would like to be a team corral team captain, and you will have a blowhorn possibly, and or your voice, but we're planning to have a blowhorn, and you'll be giving instructions to those corrals, which I'll give a little bit more detail later on, but it'll be to our orange, blue, red, and yellow corrals about our pulse wave, how we're going to move those the corral forward, and what we need them to do. And so that's that slide. And we'll move on to the next one. Okay. So the logistics, so it's kind of going over a little bit of the schedule that we did previous, but basically we want to have these corrals all set up and ready to go, people on the ropes, our access control in place. The start is at 7:30, but we want to be ready at least an hour ahead because the bag check opens up at 6:30 and people will start to wander over. The eager ones will start to wander over and want to be in those corrals, so we'll be ready. So we're looking at 5,000, possibly 5,000 runners or walkers on the 7:30 start for the 10K. They're going to be split fastest to slowest in 5 different colored corrals, and each participant will have a bib with a dot on their bib with a color and a number, and that will be associated to the corral that they'll be going into. And then that will be the 7:30, and again this will happen at the 9:15. So we want to be ready by 8:15 with our corrals all the ropes up, our corral captain in place, our access controls moving around. And again, we're expecting around 34, possibly 3,400 runners and walkers, again, split fastest to slowest, and they will all have their bibs on them with their colored dots, so we can help direct them into the corrals that they need to be in. So, and then this is just another breakdown of the timeline for the start. So at 1 minute before the 7:30 start on Saturday, our wheelchair start will go out if we have wheelchairs. I'm not sure we have any registered yet, but that could all change. Then right after that, the start starts at 7:30, and our elite corral will go out, and then the orange corral will go with that elite corral. And this is where the corral starts happening. Every 90 seconds, Carly's going to be sending out another corral, but we as a corral team are going to need to get those corrals up to her. So once the orange corral starts to go out, the blue corral will start to follow. We want to get there before that 90 seconds so that we can stop them, move the rope, and then Carly will send that corral out with the air horn, we hope. So, and that will proceed until the 7:36 time where the purple corral will go out. And most important thing to note here is our corrals, our start line is closing 10 minutes after the start. So that's going to be important for us as a team to make sure that these corrals move along according to the time, and that some of us get there at the back to help that purple corral keep moving. We don't want to have any dawdlers. We don't want people waiting to see if, oh, I'll just let the crowd go, because it will be closed. And again, this will happen with the 9:15 time as well. So again, on Sunday, same thing. Our logistics, the start for the marathon and the half will be at 7, but we want to be ready for our corrals at 6 o'clock. You guys are coming in at 5:30, so we'll be doing the setup and then getting our corrals ready for, I think you're coming in at 5, excuse me, on Sunday. And then we're going to have our corrals ready for 6. Hoping to get that 8,600 runners. And again, here's the breakdown for the starts. 1 minute out, the wheelchairs will go 7 o'clock. The elites in the orange will go. A minute and a half later, the blue will follow. At 7:03, the red will follow. 7:43, the yellow and purple, and so on. And again, the start line closes at 10 minutes. So we want to keep this moving. As Jill describes it, it's like an amoeba. So we're kind of moving along slowly behind. We don't want to crash into each other, but we want to get those folks out. Yep, you can move on. Sorry. So here's a layout of our corrals. So as Carly had mentioned, the start is going to be over in front of the Nutrient building, which on this layout here, it's the white box on the right-hand side. It actually has a dream home in this layout, but that won't be there, so we won't have that in our way. So when you're coming out, you'll come over to that big, large building. You'll come around the corner. The trailer will be there. The trailer will be fenced in. There'll be 2 porta potties there as well for our elites. So that's a good sign that you're at the start. So looking at this layout here, this is how we're positioning everybody, how it looks. So the green line there, of course, is the start line. That little black horn there by the start will be Carly with her blowhorn. And then you see an orange section, and that's the orange corral. And the 2 little green dots are going to be our rope holders. I think for the orange corral, we'll only have 1 person there because I don't think we have the numbers for 2. And that person will be removing the rope. You don't have to move. They'll be removing the rope a minute or 2 before the start, either at the 7:30 or at 7 or at the 9:15. And then the orange people will move into that elite corral and buddy up, and then they'll all go out together. And looking at the layout, you can see there's the breakdown. We have a bunch of arrows going on in there. So we have 2 arrows on the side of every corral. That means people can access through the side of the corral there, or they can access through the back. So that's where we're going to be loading in. And then in between the orange and the blue, you'll notice that that's a larger area, and that's going to be like one of our sidewalk accesses, because people are coming from the Earlton train station and they're going to come up to this wall of fences and they won't be able to get around. So we've made an opening for them to go through there so they can get to the bag check, they can get to the porta potties and get back into the corrals. The other thing about the orange corral, right at the end there, it's not going to be hard fenced at that spot. It's going to be a rolly fence, because this is just like on the plane where you have an emergency exit. If we have emergency vehicles coming in, or an ambulance or a fire truck, we're going to have to move that fencing. So we have movable fencing, and I will be putting hopefully 2 of the start line crew there. So in that case, you'll be helping with access to the corrals, like managing people going into the corrals. Plus, if there's an emergency, you'll have the knowledge to move that fencing and people out of the way. So going forward, or going back, I guess, to the blue corral, you see 2 more green dots and a horn. So the horn is to represent the corral captain, and the green dots is to represent the rope holders. And so some of that will be you guys on our team. And we also have a sports team coming in that will be helping us. So some of them will be on that, and some of them will be helping us with the access control into the corrals. We only have some of them for the first start on Saturday, and then they will disappear. So we'll manage the 5K a little bit differently. But again, going back down, so if you look at the blue corral, the end of it, they're loading in that way, and there's another big gap there for a sidewalk. And then right adjacent to that is the red corral with our rope holder, or our corral captain, and that's where you guys will all be situated. So it kind of goes all the way down to the purple. Looking at the bottom of, go back up. Looking at the bottom of that slide, it's got an example of one of our bibs. So that's the marathon. So the marathon is green. On Sunday, it's going to be purple. I have my colors here. We have Purple for the 10K, red for the 5K, blue for the half, and green for the full. But as you can see, there's an orange dot on that bib. And so that's the color of the corral. And that's also going to have a number associated to that. So that is the first start. The second start will be the blue corral, which has a 2 on it. And the red has a 3 and the yellow has a 4. So that also helps them understand which start they're going to be doing. As Carly mentioned too, we have the green bib. So some of the bibs will have a green stripe on the one side of the bib, and that's our people that don't want a t-shirt or a medal. I know that doesn't affect you, but maybe people might ask what that's all about, or just it's not to do with the corrals, it's more to do with the finish. Okay.
So Tamara, sorry, the marathon is green and the half marathon is
Like a dark blue.
so those people, if you see those people on Saturday,
Yeah.
tell them to come back tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And it happens. People get
Yeah.
excited. They see, oh, the race is starting. I messed up my days, and they show up. The other thing that could happen too, you could have some 5Kers show up and they will have a red bib. So it should
Mhm.
stand out. But when you've got so many people moving around and we can't be at every gate right on top of it, we might miss them. But if you do see somebody walking around with a red bib on Saturday morning, you know or at the 7:30 start, they're at the wrong time. So yeah, we want to try catch those people. That's for sure. So just leave it on that slide
Okay.
to talk about, and then we'll go back to that. So loading of the crowds, like I said, the access is from the back and from the side. You can see those dark black arrows there. And we have flags also associated with those crowds. So those are things that we're going to be setting up on Sunday morning. We're going to be zip tying those flags up. So there's 4 per corral. So that also helps our participants find their way to the right corral. You're also going to have ropes, the rope holders at the front. So you as a rope holder, as they're filling in, you can also be saying, come on, come up to the rope, come get closer. You can be right at the front, because some people will kind of saunter in at first and maybe not fill in right away. And again, we have our crosswalks to look at. So the duties of all of you folks out there. So our rope captains and our rope holders. So the corral captain is the one with the horn there, and you're going to be walking around with a blowhorn, and you're going to be not a blowhorn, yeah, a blowhorn, and you're going to be able to tell these people. Oh, did I lose you guys?
Oh, nope. Sorry. I must have.
Sorry. I'll just keep on talking. So you're going to be able to inform these people how the corral is going to move and how their start is going to happen, and that they know to let them know that their start starts when they cross the start line. So on the start line timing mat. So not to worry that we're going to have pulse wave starts every 90 seconds. And then the rope holders, you're going to be holding the ropes with a colored dot and facing the corral that you're holding the rope to, so people can see what they are. And when the starts happen and your corral captain says to move, we're going to move that corral up in a walking pace, a slow walking pace. And then our access control people, if you're in that position, you'll be just looking at their bibs and making sure that they're loading into the right corral. We may have to move around if we don't have enough people. You might have to be in one entrance for a while and maybe move around. For corral captains, you're not stuck at the one spot on the rope. You can move back and forth. We also, speaking of, want to cheer these people on. You can also say, have a good run, good luck, and have fun, and make sure you can make it more positive, but at the same time informing them what we're going to be doing, that we're going to be moving the corral. You need to stay with the rope as we move along. We're going to watch the corral ahead of us. As they move, we're going to move, and we're going to get up to the start line, move the rope away. And once that's cleared, when Carly blows the horn, then you will start your race. Okay, now we can go carry back on. I went ahead here, but with the corral wave starts, we'll just go to that slide. That's 2 ahead. Yeah. So again, every 90 seconds, there's going to be a pulse go out. So Carly's going to manage that. The white and orange will go out first. The blue will follow 90 seconds later. But that means we need to get there before that 90 seconds. So we don't want to be right behind the corral in front of us, but we want to have a gap. But we want to make sure we get there 10, 15 seconds ahead so we can pull the rope away. They're ready. Then Carly can blow home and they start. And that will proceed for the red, yellow, blue every 90 seconds. So red will follow 90 seconds after, yellow, purple, and will follow in. And then the start, again, I want to point out, it closes 10 minutes after the start. So we want to make sure these people are moving along and not pausing. The purple crowd will be our probably biggest concern, that they don't move fast enough, because that's the crowd that's going to have our wheelchairs and possibly wheelchairs and strollers in. So the duties of the captain will be informing, as we said before, informing your runners that we're going to be moving when the crowd ahead of us goes ahead. There's going to be a pulse start every 90 seconds. You're going to follow me or follow the rope, and the rope holders don't go underneath the rope. We're going to bring you up to the start line, and your start time starts when you cross the mat. And so we're trying to maintain, on here we set a gap of 25 feet, I think it was supposed to be. But so I think what you can use for an eyeball when we have the fencing set up is we'll look at 2 fencing links. They're about 10 feet long. Keep that gap between you and the crowd before, keeping in mind if you are in the red crowd, you're following the blue crowd, they're going to stop for a moment at the start. So you might see them stop. So you don't want to keep moving up on them. So we may have to pause for a moment and then carry on, but we want to try keep it flowing like an amoeba. So that's kind of a good way to look at it. So here's a good video down here of the Chicago Marathon. I was lucky enough to watch this 2017. It took an hour for the start to go out. So this is very fast forward, but they have amazing crowds. What's that?
You can see it okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Great.
And hopefully everybody else can, but you can see those gaps. It looks like sometimes they got a little close, but then they gapped up. Yeah. So it's kind of how we want it to look. A little bit more of a gap in there, I think. But you can see that they get them up to the front. They wait a moment. They're obviously moving away whatever's holding them, and then they're sent on their way.
What's the purpose of a pulsed start, Tamara?
Oh, the purpose of that is for safety out on course. If we have everybody going out at the same time, it makes it too crowded. It's not as safe. It helps better with marshalling and stuff like that. So it's more for safety out on the course. So we want to have a bit of a gap between all these crowds of runners.
Great.
So let's carry on. Okay. So general rules. So if you're doing access control, which actually I think all of us will be doing that, whether you're a corral captain, you're probably going to be talking to runners going into the corrals ahead of you, or if you're a rope holder or you're access control. We're going to have people that are going to show up, and there'll be somebody with an orange dot and another person with a red dot, and they want to go into the same corral. And they'll say, well, we were both at the same time and we registered at the same time, but the corrals can only hold so many people. So we kind of split them up, tried to manage the amount of people that were in those corrals. So some people might be split up. So what we're going to say to them is, can you go to the slowest time? So if it's an orange, you go to red. If it's a red, if it's a blue and they want a red to be in there, then you go into the red. So that's what we're going to be telling them. If anybody shows up and tries to go into orange or blue or yellow and they're a stroller or a non-competitive wheelchair, they're allowed in all races, but they have to go to the back corral, the purple corral, and they'll be seated right at the front of that corral. So that being said, maybe as things get going and the corral gets filled up, maybe let them if they come in, send them into the front. And also, if you do have runners come in and they want to come in the front of the corral, it's allowed, especially if we're getting closer to the start. Just lift up the rope and let them in. We don't want to have somebody going out and getting lost and not getting themselves into the corral. Also, hand cranks are allowed, but only for people who have mobility, need it for mobility. So if it's a competitive hand crank, no, they go way too fast for the race. We can't have that. If it's a competitive wheelchair, they're loaded into the elite corral at the front and they're sent out 1 minute before. Plus, I think they're pre-registered and pre-signed up. So they've got some rules that they have to follow as well. So they will know who they are at the front. I don't know, Carly, do you know if we have any wheelchair starters?
I haven't heard any yet.
Yeah, so it's not usually very many if they are, but okay, and then that's it for that slide. And then I meant to mention, this is a bit of a script that the corral captains can do, and you can maybe fill in a little bit more if you want, but basically you're going to be telling those runners, and we're trying to tell the first 4 or 5 people on that rope what's happening. So hopefully they share the information behind them, but that we're doing a pulse wave. Every 90 seconds, a wave is going out. So if you're in the blue crowd, there's 5 starts. So if you're the blue crowd, you're going to be going out second. The red, you're third. Fourth, you're yellow. And fifth is the purple. So we're going to be telling them that. And also that the corral will be moving forward slowly when the rope starts to move. So not to go under the rope, that to stay with us, and we'll bring you right up to the start, and we'll be stopped at a spot. The rope will be moved. Carly will blow the horn, or don't say Carly, we will say our start line lead will blow the horn, and off you go onto your course, and your time starts when you cross the timing mat. I think most people know that, but new people to the race might not know they have that right in their bib. So it's just a little bit of an education. Okay.
We're at the end.
Oh, sure.
We did great timing here. So you already did talk a little bit about strollers there. Keep in mind, children under 10 in strollers are allowed in the 10-kilometer race if they remain in a stroller. Late arrivals, as we said, after 10 minutes, the start line will close. We try to tell people that it's a safety issue, and it's not even our responsibility to deal with these people. There are venue managers that will be around anticipating this, and the venue managers will deal with those participants, because we will have some, like flipping for the next race duties, so we can't attend to those people. But for the 10K, participants who are late for that race can go into the 5 kilometers. We will try to record their bib number so that the race director can follow up with them. They do get like a personal touch and apology and that sort of thing. So it is a nice thing to do to try to make their experience better when they've missed their race.
Yeah.
And it is inevitable. So 5K participants cannot move into another race, obviously.
Yeah.
So I will send out our contact information and the parking passes, the race guide link, and I will include that script for the captains for when you have your bullhorn, just to keep people in the loop as to what's happening, just to sort of keep everybody calm and cool.
Yeah, they need to follow. Yeah. Are we open for questions at all, or does anybody have any questions? Do we have time for that?
I think so.
I've been monitoring the chat, and there's been no questions that have come through at all.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, we are so grateful for your time joining us pre-event, because these are the details that we will reiterate again on race day. So if some things didn't stick, I can also PDF this deck and send it out to you all if you want to just touch on it the night before the race. And if not, we'll just go through sort of run of show prior.
And Carly, the presentation slides and recording will also go up on the Volunteer Hub.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
So they get to hear us speak all over again.
Should you choose to.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much. We're very excited to have you, and special shout out for those coming near and far. It's a very important function of the race, and we need you.
Yes.
So we're gonna get all these FaceTimes now.